Well, hello everyone. How are you? It's a Saturday afternoon. I didn't get to record yesterday. It was just one of those days where I think that the winter's kind of getting to everybody and everybody was just kind of having their mood. So when you have three or four teenagers and two adults, it's all fine except for when you're cooped up and you can't get out and you know. So it's just kind of one of those freaking days. They said Mercury was supposed to be out of retrograde, but I don't know. I don't know if it was a smooth transition or not. But anyway, thank you guys for helping me out. When I told you that my viewership was down by 50% and that I was getting a lot more dislikes than I was getting likes, you guys really helped me out. And we are now up at to 849 and 849 strong. And the likes are way up. There's still a couple of videos that I've got a lot of unlikes on. I think they're 31 and 34. So I'm not sure what I did in those that has people thumbs downing it, but I did something. So, anywho, I was looking at things and just, thinking. And I thank you guys so much for being so kind to me and so supportive. I thank you for not making me a creator who has had to change their stance. I feel that creators often start out, with the way that they want to, and then, their jobs are threatened, their CPS is called, and all this stuff. And I waited to make this channel until, my youngest had turned 18 and good in 18, and because of that reason that, the enemy will go in and try and fight in every single way that they can. I don't have a job outside the home and I don't have minor children. So, you know, um, I think it's really sad that people go for people's jobs and their kids and all that for speaking out. It's like if you don't like what somebody says, change the frickin' channel. Now, what I do know is that the internet has been a magnet for people with personality disorders since it started. In the very beginning, when it was just dating sites and whatnot, the ratio of sociopaths and psychopaths um, on the dating sites was far, far greater than those without. And that's because sociopaths and narcissists often cannot act correctly in a social setting that would make a hookup, a relationship start, because right away in person you can see those red flags. Well, when you start interacting on the internet, the personality can be hidden and the person can see in black and white the right things to say. So that then, a couple weeks or whatever, or so many hours in, you meet this person and you've already went past that, oh, I need to run phase, and then you feel this connection. They've got you in on a hook somehow, or you're committed to something, and then soon things are out of control and you don't know how to end them. Well, that is going on the internet. And those types of people who have personality disorders or who are not, those that possess critical thinking skills, are on the computer much more than most of us can, because those of us who are not obsessed with making one side of one argument go through no matter what, and just drive and drive and drive and troll and troll and troll, and you know balanced people have balanced lives and balanced people have balanced opinions. And what we see here over and again is that we're getting attacked for having the opinion that there are two sides to the story, that only half of the story is told. And things are not black and white. unless you have a personality disorder. And that's where you see things as black and white. There is no gray. There is nothing. It is their way, their way, their way, their way, their way. Okay. Um. So you have that. You have the black, white. You have the gray. Okay. So a lot of us kind of hang around in the shades of gray. I mean, there's one side, there's two sides, and then there's the middle. So we're gray. We're in the middle. Um, when we go through most of these things without being sexist, I could say there's their side and their side, but for practical principles, I'm saying, there's his side, there's her side, and then somewhere in the middle is the truth. When you whittle it all down, you've got the truth. And then you've got the naive people who just think that, oh gosh, just one day he just turned into a rabid dog, and oh gosh, if you don't make a sandwich right, he's just going to go into a rabid dog, and you and the kids are going to be killed. So you just got to be careful because your husband could turn into a Chris Watts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All she did, this beautiful woman, she just went to go and visit her parents, and then he found, because she was gone, he got a new mommy to play house with, and so then when she came back, he liked the way that she played house better, and he killed them all. Okay, all right, so that's naive, in my opinion. Then you have the overthinkers, like me, making these videos, and before I made these videos, I would stay up many nights thinking about this and just really having nowhere to go with my thoughts and opinions, that I felt that something wasn't right. I felt that there are things yet untold. I felt that something wasn't right. I felt that as a mother of 5 sons, this could happen to any of our sons. No matter how well we treat them and train them to be in their own identities and their own confidence, they could get mixed up with somebody who has an agenda. And if you have somebody who's naive, you have an overthinker, well, in the middle, what would you get? Would you get something that's well thought out? So when you get the people who they're just black and white, and they're immediately going to call you somebody who bashes murder victims. Oh, I didn't think it was going to be this bad. Oh, I can't deal with it. I mean, I saw that in the other chats. It was like, I can't take it. I need to go. Then go. No, you come back to the creator. You give him $20. You give him $20. Oh, I just had to take a moment to go and cry for these people. Okay, now you're back. Okay, I thought it was too much for you. I have to stay away from those channels, even though I really like those creators, because they've had to bow down to that. And I thank all 849 of you for being here and understanding that there's more to this story. It does not have anything to do, or it does not justify what happened, no matter what she was doing. A separation, a divorce was the answer. Okay? But what happened didn't happen just because of one thing. What happened was because one partner checked out of that marriage and started lying an awful lot, lying, deceiving, making sure she was never alone, so that the lies and the deceit would never have time to come to the surface. You saw in that video where she was, preaching about how she was going to become a better wife and a better mother and sell more, thrive, and all of that. She didn't look normal. Her eyes were pinpoint. She hadn't been to a doctor in 2 years, yet she still had that prescription for oxycodone. But yet they're going to call all of her friends and ask about her drinking patterns, and then really investigate whether or not Christopher Watts took a CPR class. And that's about what they did for this whole thing. That's what they looked into. That, Tambergler watched some social media things and determined that Shanann Watts was a great mother based on what she saw on those social media videos. What would she have thought of Ted Bundy before he was busted? Would he be on, if he was in a different time, would he be on Facebook? Would he be talking about how he sat next to this great lady named Anne Rule, and together they worked shifts on the suicide hotline? Would she see Ted Bundy and say, gosh, he's a great man and he's saving lives? Good looking guy, Got that Volkswagen, loves that nature. Charming, charming guy. Because however she became in the CBI is beyond me. Her calling off cadaver dogs sniffing on the side of the house because the second dog didn't smell it that they brought in. You got 1 out of 2. You got a 50% chance. Why would you negate that? The side door puts in a lot more questions. There is so much reasonable doubt due to the Tamburglars' incompetence that this could have never went to trial. And they know it. They know it. And so those of us that are hanging out in the gray, in the middle, finding the truth, hopefully we'll be able to come to a point where we've thought about this well. And if Christopher Watts is happy where he's at, he doesn't want to change it, that's it. It's like, I'll talk about this, I'll read as many documents as I can. But if he doesn't want it to change, if he's happy where he's at, and nobody has a problem with that, if he doesn't, what can you do? I mean, it's high time that he stands up and fights. He has nothing to lose. He's got life in prison as it is now. That 35C is available to him at any time. There is so much new evidence. There is so much undiscovered evidence. There is so much that was wrong with his inmate rights violated. And just the holes in the case. Did he know that there were great lawyers that offered to take the case pro bono? Did he know that? I don't know that he did. I know that he has a public defender, or had a public defender, that I can't see put any time into this case at all. That I can't see was spending much time with him at all. That at the time he was probably majorly traumatized and couldn't talk about the truth and the facts. And maybe we'll never know them, but I hope that I hope that there is a retrial, even if it comes out that just the truth comes out and he is put back where he is. We have a system of jurisprudence, and we want to make sure that nobody who's innocent is put behind bars. And I just feel like there needs to be so much reform. Like whatever you were doing in your, whatever your trade is, I feel like you should be able to earn that right to work for the state and do that while you're incarcerated. He was a mechanic. Wouldn't it be great if he was, the mechanic for what if he was the head mechanic for the shop in the corrections facility? That he changed all the oils, switched all the tires. If something happened to one of the vehicles, he does it. What if he earns that privilege? And, of course, there needs to be guards, but then what if he was training others to, change the oil, rotate the tires, give them good skills so they could get out as well. And, being paid whatever it is, an hour that they get, when they do the little laundry or whatever. Then why can't we do reform within the prison so it saves taxpayer money overall? Just like with that as an example. I mean, I know that they do some things, but there could certainly be more. Those are my thoughts. That's the way I feel, and that's, when I was pursuing my law degree, and you go through a lot of corrections classes in that, I had a lot of ideas like that because, like, I brought up, and one of our teachers, or one of my best professors, had formerly been the superintendent of a prison, and he brought us out to his prison, and it was really cool to tour it because they just adored the man still. And they were like, hey, Bob, how are you? And everything. And before I went in, he was like, hey, go to your car, get a sweatshirt, cover up. I was like, huh? Go. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's like he was walking in and made sure that all of us as students came in, that weren't going to And then I was a little bit unprepared because there was a lot of choking the chicken, because we were about half female, half male. Half of us were female and half of us were male. Not like, oh, we're all, anyway. Um, but it didn't matter what we were. We were people, and there were people in cages, and rather than just being like, hey, little wave, they wanted to get to the edge and you know show us their goods. It was interesting. um I saw some salacious pictures on the sides of their walls, and I asked Bob about it. And I was like, Bob, is that allowed? He's like, look, do I want them looking at each other, or do I want them looking at the occasional picture like that? He's like, I really don't care, as long as it wasn't X. And so it's like they kept a lot of the ways that he was in there, and in a lot of ways that he saw things. And he was so well respected by all of the inmates, still inmates and staff. They were all like, Bob, it's really cool. But I talked to him, and I was like, look, I was like, drug dealers, people who run drugs, they get their own employees. They've got the salesman technique. They manage money on a grand scale. When they're incarcerated, all they do is come out and they do the same thing. Why aren't those skills that they innately have transferred into something that they could be successful with on the outside? Like, okay, so this is what you're good at. Well, what does that translate into? I mean, then you go, well, like financial advisor, and you're going, oh gosh, and they're going to be other people's money, and then you're going trust. So, I mean, there is also, great considerations in what you want to teach, but there just needs to be better reform. Our prison system is just a joke. We don't have good counselors. We don't have good. Our whole system, CPS counselor. Don't get me started. Oh God. All right. So I'm sorry I babbled so much, but we're about to start part 39. I hope that everything was straightened out with 36, and that's in order and everything, because that was that big 3.5 hour one. I thought that I lost, and I fixed the playlist so one is in charge, or one is first, and then I put all of the other ones up. So there's a playlist, so you can just put it on when you go to sleep, and it should just run you all night and maybe into your commute the next day or so. So without further ado, without further ado, here we go. So we're starting on page 1484 of 1960 on discovery page 1634. And I've got to run and get my Tylenol really quick. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I just got Boo asleep and everything, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to get up and do that because he's gonna wake up. But it's that middle temperatures, like I think it's like in the 30s, and it just everything hurts, and so then my arm hurts. But I have really turned the corner. I didn't realize I was at 5 weeks on Wednesday, so 6 weeks is gonna be this Wednesday. So I'll be out of the splint. Which is great. I'm able to really do much more than I thought I would ever be able to do. And I just had to correct a few things. I've lost a lot of strength in my wrist. I can't even lift a 1 pound weight in physical therapy. My wrist is really bothering me. So Just a couple of things because I was overcompensating. But otherwise, it's because of all of your positivity and prayers. I feel it, I love it, and I thank you so much for it. So, let me see here. Where did we leave off? What were we doing? Yes, we were still in the letters that were held. So this says number 39. So was that like the 39th letter they were home? So Department of Human Services, Weld County. What is this? October 15th, 2019. To whom it may concern, the Weld County Department of Human Services does not have a local dispute resolution process for the purpose of disputing or appealing confirmation of incident of abuse or neglect. This is really blurry, of course. A state level hearing appeal is the only option available for your purpose of appeal. This option is outlined in the letter provided to you by the Colorado Department of Human Services. This letter describes the process for a something level hearing. And it's from the Colorado Department of Human Services. Something including fact sheet from requesting a state level hearing or appeal. I wonder what that is. Let's see. Okay. So it's a okay. So this is what it is. It says so it's to Christopher Watts and it's from them, and it from the Weld County Department Human Social Services has completed a something of an allegation of child abuse and or neglect. Okay. Here we go. The allegation has been confirmed and you have been identified as the person responsible for the incident of child abuse or neglect below. Here we go. Here's the DSHS. Here's the CPS. Yes. They put date reported to county, and it's like, I can't tell what that date is. Looks like 8/16/2008, maybe. It says children, severity, category of type or incident. It says Bella Watts, fatal. It does it fatal and then something. It says familial abuse, physical. Celeste Watts, fatal. Something familial abuse, physical. And it says your option for disputing this confirmation in the time frame in which you submit your appeal are explained in detail in the attached fact sheet along with other important information. You have the right to a state level fair hearing before an independent administrative law judge. You may have an opportunity to request a local dispute resolution process. You must contact the company named above to find these. Okay, so how did we go from we don't have it, okay, as far as our discovery, as far as all of everything, we do not have where he has taken responsibility for everything, okay? The only thing we have is where he said that he walked in and Shanann had unalived them, okay? We don't have anything different to this point by document in discovery from anything else, okay? I know that it morphed somehow to where he took responsibility. And then when Coder and Tambergler swooped to see him in Wisconsin, and they talked to him, and he told the others, story with more details. That was way after he was sentenced. Now, am I mistaken? Maybe. We'll see. But to this date, where this is where he is at, in the discovery process where he is still in the Weld County Jail, based on that night what he told Papa Ronnie, and he's not been able to get any mail. He's not been able to get anything. They probably give him this one. I have no doubt. Um, where are they able to pin him as responsible for this incident? And why aren't they fighting it? Why is his attorney not saying something here? Saying that this is not true. This is not what happened. Why? Where do we go from here? And I mean, arguably, he would have been charged with Shanann and Nico's death if it was proven that the week prior, the ultrasound proved that the baby was alive and well. We don't know what the ultrasound said. So, this is concerning to me. Now, and it says, information about confirmed reports of child abuse or neglect. So this could be important, and this is where people, said, oh yeah, there's CPS involvement, there's blah 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 blah. I don't know. But it's a start of where some of this goes. You cannot believe that somebody called somebody and said all this stuff and whatnot. And if somebody calls me as a creator, I hate talking on the phone. So number one, if I ever say that I talked to somebody on the phone, or somebody says I talked to somebody on the phone, be very, very suspicious, because I took a phone call from a person who was threatening to unalive themselves. An old friend from high school. And in the middle of the night, they put something on Facebook. And I said, call me. And I went downstairs so no one would hear me, on the main level, and talked to her. And my son woke up, came up, and he was like, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, it's okay. He's like, are you sure? Because he'd never seen me on the phone. And this was like when he was 18, like 2 years ago. And my other son woke up. It's like, came down. Everything okay? I'm like, yes. Daughter wakes up. Is everything okay? Because they never see me on the phone. I freaking hate talking on the phone. I can't stand it. It's some weird ass PTSD thing, and I'll explain at some point, but I hate talking on the phone. I hate it. So, like I say, if I say, yeah, I was talking on the phone to somebody and they said that, I'd be like, yeah, right, you don't talk on the phone, ma'am. But let's say that somebody said, hey, look, I've got just something that I don't feel comfortable putting in writing, and be like, okay, I can schedule you a phone call. I can put in 25 minutes, because generally, even here, you guys hear I get interrupted and whatnot. I would tell you who called me. But then what they said, I don't want my name. I would say something to the nature so that you guys would understand where it came from, what they said. I'm not going to just be like, yeah, and so I can pull these stories out of my ass like legless lizards, okay? These legless lizards and stories that come from somebody's phone. I'm not going to do that to you guys. I trust you guys more, and I value your time more than to tell you something that doesn't have basis in truth, and where I can show you at a reliable source level. So if I end up seeing something more that does suggest that there was CPS involvement in the home, I'll be happy to tell you, but I don't see it to this point. I wish that I could see this a little clearer, because it's talking about what is child abuse, and it's saying, and it lists off things. And one of the things I can see that is clear enough, it says children who do not get enough food, clothing, something, medical care, or something. I mean, that ridiculous food restriction, fluid restriction. Oh, the girls are on a fluid restriction. Baloney. The stuff that she was saying was not true. She was limiting their fluid so they wouldn't pee as much when they were locked in their rooms for their 12-hour segment. But as far as I can see with my own eyes and tell you, this is what I see from where CPS was involved. And then I saw it in the death certificates, and that's where it said, CPS involvement, and it said yes, something like that. And that's where, yeah, because anything of a child, they're going to come and look. I really wish I could read this document. Um, and maybe I can find it later as a supplemental or something. But here is the thing for a request for a state level fair hearing. And that's where his attorney should have gotten in there and said, no, no, no. That, he walked in on her doing this, and this is his intention, or his statement. And so it looks like it says this actions be effective on 10/2/219. So, he's not getting any letters of support, but he sure is getting this. And let's see here. So now we've got our buddy from Hawaii calling, or doing this. Okay, now it still says 39 on this, so everything they're writing number 39. Okay, so now we've got September 20th. Hey, Chris. Okay, now this is like pretty good handwriting, so for half of it. She goes, hey, Chris. Gosh, I feel like an idiot, as I didn't know the rules for what I can include in my letters to you. Hence, I initially put a self-addressed stamp envelope with a stamp and returned to me. That was my first letter I wrote to you on August 24th. Okay, now I know. Okay, well, there we go. I wish she already done that. So we know that she had already said that. Then here's kind of blurry, but she says, so how are you holding up, my dear? I hope you have a great support system to get you through this, and that everyone is stepping up. Again, that is why I'm here writing to you, to give you support and prayers that just maybe things will turn around for you. Please do not give up. A lot of good can come out of this. I really feel that. God has a way of making things happen to you. Just give everything over to Him and take care of and figure it out. Trust, and He will help you, I promise. He sure has came through for me quite a few times, so I know firsthand. Please consider turning to Him for help. And then there's this thing written on the side, and it says, I was wondering, are you getting a ton of mail? Or hardly anything? So, he's not writing back because he's not getting these. Now, she writes further. She says, how are your meals? I hope they're somewhat decent and okay. I know I asked before, but I wonder and hope that you can at least listen to music. I'd love to know what your favorite bands are. If you could see one band perform live, who would it be and where? Do you ever get a chance to go to the Red Rocks? Oh, how I miss that place. Maui is so boring for live shows, mostly because bands do not want to ship their equipment here to perform. Although I have seen the Eagles, Incubus, 311 here, I'm kind of over the Hawaiian music. LOL, damn, I don't belong here. On a side note, did you ever see bad lip reading for NFL or the political debates? OMG, I just discovered it. Again, that's some funny stuff. They even have Zuckerberg, total weirdo, going before Congress about he knows his PB supported hacks. Too darn funny. Hopefully, at some point, you get to watch the internet. Side note here, on the islands, so there was this guy and he was singing this song for the airlines, and it was like just this incredible song. It was in the late 90s, and I looked up who sung it. It was called like the Islands of Aloha or whatever. And it was Danny Couch. So then, when we went over to Hawaii, when my husband was in 9/11. He was in the Navy, and we were supposed to, see each other in Australia, but I got stuck there. He couldn't get off of his ship. It was a big, huge mess because of the whole little 9/11 snafu. They were, their plans were modified, shall we say. So, went to Australia by myself. Melbourne, in fact. I was going to say that when I read the one letter. I went to Melbourne. It's an interesting place. But, so I told him the next time that he hits land, I'll fly anywhere and marry him. So he was going to hit Hawaii. So that's where I got my dress the week before, had it altered the last minute, and flew over to Hawaii, and so we're there and at our hotel, and I see that there is gonna be a concert from Danny Couch, and I was over the moon. And my husband's like, "What is a Danny Couch?" And I'm like, he sings for the airlines, the Islands of Aloha. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So, like, I just rush up to the thing. I'm like, "Are there any tickets remaining for Danny Couch?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, I realize it's tomorrow night, but is there any good seating? Yeah. They're looking at me like I'm fucking crazy. But anyway, um, so then, I'm like, about 2 hours early, and I'm like, we gotta get down there for the seats. I get down there, and I'm first in line and everything, and I mean, it's like a total of like 8 people there, like for the concert. I mean, like Danny Couch is apparently a Hawaiian local, and so it's not like a big thing that he had a concert there. But I was over the moon. I just love him. I love Danny Couch, and then I took my baby when he was just 8 weeks. I took him over to Hawaii when Dad was back over there for um, a while because he'd been back at sea. So I put him in my sweatshirt on the plane, and he just nuzzled up. He slept the whole way. Had a little bugaboo with me, and went and saw another Danny Couch concert, and Danny Couch couldn't handle it. He loved my baby, and here's a little 8 week older, and he's just loving the music, and just making his little head bop. And Danny Couch couldn't handle it. He gets off the stage at the end, and he's like, "I've got to smell that baby," and smelled his hair. He's just like, "Oh, it's just so pure and wonderful." And oh, his first concert. So the islands do have their concerts, but seriously, equipment. I mean, it is really an expensive thing. I saw Ramstein, and I read the thing about when they came to the U.S. They had to have like 7 airplanes full of their equipment, and how many semis full, and just this massive amount of money to get their equipment over from Germany to here. And then for each concert, because they've got these huge pyrotechnics for their shows. If you can ever see a Ramstein concert, Ramstein, go. I mean, it is the most incredible thing you'll ever see. I can't really explain it. It's not in English. I think there's like 5% that's like in English. So you have no idea what they're saying, but you understand that it's something intense. And the fire. It was like the biggest pyrotechnics we've ever had, at concerts here in the U.S. And it was like last year I saw. So really cool. I think they're coming back, so support them. You won't be disappointed. You'll be mesmerized, as I was. And then you can put some serious Rammstein music on when you want to do some serious housework, because it gets you fired up, literally. Fired up. Oh. So, this Hawaiian lady, I wonder who she is. I mean, and Eric Erickson said that a person can survive if they have one person to love them unconditionally. Just one person. And if this one person's letters were getting to Christopher Watts, would that have given him the gumption to stand up and tell the truth and fight? I think that's what the jailers, I think that's how whoever put a little kibosh to him receiving his letter surely thought. I think the state surely thought that if he thought that he had one person in his corner, he would stand up. They feared that, so they didn't let it happen. Anyway, Miss Hawaii says, "I know you cannot write back to me. That's okay." Oh, I wonder why she said that. "I know you cannot write back to me. That's okay." I know you cannot. So, did the Weld County Jail tell her that he was not allowed to send or receive? And for what? Because we saw for the book thing, he's not on a restriction for behavior. What was that? Miss Hawaii, you're helping us here. Thank you. Aloha. So it says, she goes, so after receiving my first letter to you back to me, I'm not quite sure if you can even receive anything I've sent. I believe this is my fifth letter to you, and I sure hope it gets in your hands. There you go. So she's written 5 times. There's no reason for him not to interact. She's not like, oh, you want to see my, pink canoe. There's no reason he shouldn't have written her back. So she says, I believe this is my fifth letter to you, and sure hope it gets in your hands. My goal is to write you every week. I'm a pretty boring person, but I'm a totally awesome support system. My background is mostly of office management, yet here in Hawaii, I'm all tourist, i.e. vacation, condo rentals, concierge, etc. I hate it, but it could be worse. It's just that everyone seems to complain. Even when they're on vacation in a beautiful spot. I don't get it. Okay, on a good note. Broncos beat the dreaded Raiders 19-20. See, she's a good lady for him. Cleveland Browns just won their first game in 2 years against the Jets 17-21. Oh wow. I hope they beat the Raiders in week 4. Cleveland would be my new favorite if they do. Are you really a Steelers fan? They tied the Broncos. In closing, I'm sorry to hear North Carolina got hit in the hurricane. I hope your family is safe there and didn't get too much damage. Blessings. Take care. Janelle, Rachel, whatever your name is. I can't see that signature. You don't have your name on the outside of the envelope, or else I'd be looking you up now and being like, hi, Miss Hawaii, would you please listen to what we're talking about right now? Okay, so now Christopher Watson, the Weld County Jail, getting something, and it costs $4.16 in postage. It's certified mail from Colorado, looks like. So what do we have here? Okay. Ooh, it says in the matter of the estate of Shanann Watts, a petition for adjudication of intestate and formal appointment of personal representative. Okay, we already went through that. We know that went to his father-in-law. So it says right there, went to Frankie, whatever. All right. So that's just sending him the certified mail that he's lost everything. And he understands. Let's make sure that you understand by sending it in 14 more pages. And it's still there. And then it says something, persons with prior rights or appointment are as follows. And it says Chris Watts and Sandra Rusick. Sandra. Okay, now we have this person in, looks like West Virginia. Oh God, why couldn't they have done this? Because they scanned it in so crappy. It's, you can't read it. It's just too light. Maybe in pencil, just maybe a bad scanner. I don't know. I do see a couple of things that it says something in your day of trouble. And then we've got somebody who's, Life Church, something, Anna Nowak or something from Depew, Wisconsin. And they, okay, this is really going to be tough to read. Same thing. It's like, I don't know why they have such a bad scanner, but they do. Oh, this one is 9/22/18. My name is Anna. I just want you to know this is not a hate letter, but I'm writing this to, not writing this to condemn you of anything like that. I actually wanted to right for the exact, oh no, just something you know that no matter what, the Lord says something in your people. There is a God who loves you unconditionally and is without judgment. I've been watching your case, and it's been heavy on my heart. No matter what has happened, God has already forgiven you. As it's to accept, sometimes no, sometimes wrong, and the sin, something about Him. Pray. Steady word, I don't know. I don't want to put words in somebody's thing. And it says here, story, but I don't know your story, but God never something changes His love and forgiveness in the same as for everyone. You simply, whatever, ask for forgiveness and then accept it. It's really that easy. I'm sure your background is if you believe, I'm not sure if your background is to believe in Jesus. He died for your sins. But I want you to know that He did. And He loved you again and again because He loves that much. John 15:13 says, great love is that, I don't know, that someone, blah, 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 blah. It's just too light, but it's just basically a very kind letter. Something about the trials we go through will shape and mold our lives and remind us that I don't know what that's about. Greg honking. Don't wake up Boo Boo, you people. Stop honking, you a-holes. Let me see. It says that, she's been in some really deep depression and can imagine it's worse. Not being able to talk to consent form to, I don't know. They're everyone not to transfer me to a, I don't know, to a something hospital, and I stayed there 2 months and over 20 surgeries on one of my legs and to save them. Hospital something, I don't know. Very nice letter. Just, anything to, these would have meant the world to him. Something about in 3 years. Did she say she got into a something accident? Drunk driving accident? I was the one driving and almost took my life. I woke up in the hospital. They took my, I don't know. So then it just says to write back at the, under the church address. If you choose not to write, just know that, I don't know. And then God bless Anna. So I think what she's saying is she's had a lot of, times that have been hard, and the Lord has been there, and she's witnessing to Him, and unfortunately, the piggies did not give him his letters. Oh no, and another one, of course, you can't read. Just blobs. 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 You could read it if it was there. It's just really badly scanned in. And I don't know what it is, if it's lighter writing or, obviously it's a bad scanner. Um, this is the Kelly Black from Virginia Beach. I think we've seen her write before. But... And then we have something else that's very blurry. It's like, what? Something from Greeley. And it says it's legal. Alright. And this is from Brighton, Colorado. September 30. Hey there, I've been waiting for a response, but I understand. You can't trust anyone but yourself in this evil world. Well, to add to those last two letters, yes, my whole something was turned right side up. I'd like to say my whole world, but it's like it doesn't say that. It was turned right side up. Our Creator and Savior changed my whole way of thinking, and I wasn't seeking Christ like I do now. What we all seen October 3rd, 2013 changed me and will always make an impact on my life. I'm not a holy roller at all, so get that out of your head. I'm a believer. Something, and I live for Christ now. Too many are something, if freak out and do the whole nun thing. It's not what the whatever and his ex expects. 5 years love recording into commandments, nothing more or less. This is the one that saw the did you guys ever watch Escape from Witch Mountain when you were a kid? Or Escape to Witch Mountain, whichever was from or to. One of my favorite movies. And they had a very similar UFO that did this. So maybe she was watching that. Maybe it was a vision. I don't know. But she's very, very much into sharing what happened that day. And I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm going to have to see if a piece of paper helps. Let's see. This is what let's see, more or less. Men in general screw it up formally because this way they judge. Do you know how many times we had to stick up for you on social media? Woot! I've watched a lot, if not all of the videos that she has up. So I'm aware of certain things. That patch you all put on, if your testosterone shots that could have all played a role on your thinking. Did you ever consider that? I tell you, time to check into the contents of that product with your shots you were on. Okay, this woman may be batty as hell, but she's saying the truth, and she was sticking up for him on social media. She's aware of certain things. And yeah, a lot of people were like, what was in those patches? It's time to see what was in those patches and how that, whatever substance that is, and substance can be caffeine, nicotine, It could be anything. Testosterone. What if it was just a bunch of testosterone going in there and then, it did cause a rage. This woman has been doing her research. So then, and they should have been doing his blood levels, and they should have been seeing what he was on and what his blood levels were leveling off to. Because then to go from whatever he was on to nothing probably caused a greater depression in everything else that he was going through. And it's surprising that he didn't unalive himself. I guess he wasn't friends with the Clintons or the. Anyway, let's see here. Anyway, I'd like to visit, but I was told I needed to okay it. It's up to you to add me. I don't. Evil far as you know. If not, I truly understand. Anyway, back to how my life changed and started reading my Bible now and studying prophecy. Wow, the things we found out about angels and demons and the fallen ones. Sheesh, it's crazy. The book of Enoch tells you how it all began as far as the 200 angels that lusted after a human or a bunyan. I don't know. They decided to make a packet to take for themselves as a wife. Humans that were all kicked out of heaven because after that, and made giants in Genesis, and it talks about giants being on earth, and they just found like a giant skeleton too. In those days, right before the flood, boy was father disappointed and angry. After all that, though, something humans about how to make weapons, metals, and color the eyes, makeup, and to enchantments, things that they shouldn't have shared. They all got a lot of undue to humans, and to this day, they are still sharing. Technology has been shared with us by them. It's crazy. But it's true. It's crazy, but it's true, she says. One day, shortly after I repented and graced myself, left to Jesus, I was sitting on by my couch and my dog was by my lap and no one was here and I had my music playing softly and my dog got up on the couch pillows and she started wagging her tail. Yes. No one was home and no one was standing there, at least at the time. I knew it. It was an angel. I couldn't expect that at all. In other than that, or explain it all, it was other than that. It was so awesome. I can't even tell you. I felt like a special come. I felt like a peace come over me, and it was crazy. But I knew it was an angel. After that, I started seeing beautiful lights. They fly by me daily. I still see them. In the book of Enoch, it says that the elect will see lights. Oh, because she's one of the elect. Okay. My life has changed, Chris, and you can too. I've been praying for you. You haven't rejected my letters and so hoping you're okay with me writing you. If not, please let me know. I will stop writing you. Just not up to this whole pen pal thing is. Oh, LOL. Stay strong, say your prayers, and don't give up. Your special friend. And now it says like maybe ROB, but I thought she was Ruby, but I don't see the Y. It says blessings, my friend, with a smiley face. Oh, she's one of the elect, huh? And then let's see, Frank Rushek, $3.95, certified mail. What's Frank Rushek sending? Another certified mail thing stating the matter of Shan Ann Watts. And he put it with SHAN, capital ANN. Shan Ann Watts. And it says emergency motion for emergency hearing. Franklin Rusek. Take care of her affairs. Some are time sensitive. Any future issues or said life insurance or the car. Of course, gotta be thinking about that. So, the car. The one that was in his in his name. Okay, now something comes from the Weld County Court. Let's see what we got here. And then it says Nikki Martinez from Massillon, Ohio. Christopher Watts, Chris Watts, 2110 Street. Oh, and then, well, and it says Nikki. Hold on. So she's a Nikki, Niki Martinez, and she's got a picture of her right there. Okay. And I can't read that one. It was basically, I don't know. I don't know why some of these don't. It's like they're written in pencil and they don't scan, but no one writes in pencil unless they're behind bars. Basically, I can't read this at all, but other than what I can barely see. So it says something like, Dear Chris, something in, not everyone is against you. I'm not against you. I believe you told your wife you were no longer wanted to be married. You wanted a divorce, and I believe she snapped. She whatever might not have what you said with her. I don't think you were happy anymore. I do believe that you loved your babies. It showed on all the Facebook pictures and videos, and from what Shanann is a loving I'd like to say, okay, so it says from what is showing is a loving father. In some picture, you should, that it has a thing, have some reward your wife, but whatever, you're starting to look away from whatever. You showed your love towards your daughters. I believe your story. And to tell you the truth, if I saw someone try to kill one of my 3 kids, I'll kill them too. I really like to get to know you. I hope to hear back from you. Just remember I'm on your side. Only hung, I don't understand. is the oil. Yeah, none of us do the oil thing. But you have your reasons if you're the one who did it. I have bipolar and I've done some things I wouldn't normally do if I didn't take my medicine. Look, I just wanted you to not think the whole world is against you. I hope to hear from you when you have time to write back. Please do nothing stupid like take your own life. Take care of yourself and hopefully we keep in touch. I hope to hear from you. Thanks for taking your time to read this. Right now, I know you only get 1 hour. Hope to hear from you sincerely, Nikki. So what, they get what in their hour to shower and whatever else is the only time they can read letters too? I wonder. Anyway, this says something Robert Holler, Turtle Lake, Wisconsin. And it's written, okay, in or it's typewritten in like calligraphy. It says, "Dear Mr. Christopher Watts," and it's blurry too, of course. "If this letter finds its way to you, first of all, let me introduce myself by telling you who I am not. I am not affiliated with any special interest group of any kind. I am not affiliated with any type of media group of any kind. I am not affiliated with any magazine, newspaper, journal of any kind. In fact, I am not affiliated with any worldly organization of any kind. I am not affiliated with any religious or Christian organization of any kind. Now, with that being said, let me introduce myself to you as to who I really am. My name is Robert A. Holder. I reside in the state of Wisconsin. I have heard you via the media, but I want you to know the real reason I'm writing to you is plainly this. I give my life for my true God and Savior, Jesus Christ. You see, Christopher, there is no difference between you and me, except for our earthly domain at this time. You are in Colorado and I am in Wisconsin. I am nothing more or less a sinner in the eyes of my great God and Savior, Jesus Christ. I judge no one for what they are or what they do. Hold on. He's in Wisconsin. I wonder if he's visited him. Let me see here. We, as sinners, are all capable of doing things that we never think we are capable of doing. I am not writing to pass any judgment of any kind. What I want you to realize is there are people out there like myself that love you, not with the love this world knows and practices, but my love is of Jesus Christ. I love this world a love this world knows nothing about. We are all guilty of sin before our great God and Savior Jesus Christ, no matter what the sin is. That has nothing to do with sin is sin. I say through the media that you have a Bible. I see through the media that you have a Bible with you. In your cell, I say please praise the Lord for that. I have no idea whether or not you know you have a personal relationship with my great God and Savior Jesus Christ. If you do, praise the Lord. If you don't, I still praise the Lord. My love for you to know the truth of the Word of God, not in any other kind of man truth as to whether you are in the right or wrong. It makes no difference to me. You see, all of us are guilty before God, no matter what we think or try to do to change that. The only way we can be forgiven for our sins is to do something simple that the majority of mankind will fail to do, and that is to simply believe on Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. Nothing else has to be done. I can't imagine what you're going through now as a human being. But I can emphasize enough that you are not going through this alone. We out here that have the true love of Jesus Christ from our fellow human beings are suffering with you. You have to believe that. I can do nothing to help you with your current situation except introduce you to the very one that can. His name is Jesus Christ. I have read some of what social media has labeled you as. Trouble is, they are no different than you are. Even though you may be incarcerated, you can be freer than the majority of mankind. Even though millions and millions of people walk around every day doing what they want, going where they want, etc., they are more enslaved than one who has Jesus Christ as their own personal God and Savior. I can tell you this without a doubt. Whatever it is that you have done, just as I have done in my life as a sinner, Jesus Christ loves you for the very same as he loves me. If you want to correspond with me, the door is wide open. I have been saved now over 15 years ago. I study God's word and help people wherever God opens a door for me to do so. I will never force his word on you, nor will I ever ask anything from you, but I am a go-between for you and Jesus Christ. I expect nothing from you but your attention to this matter. Whether you decide to correspond with me or go in another venue, that will be up to my great God and Savior Jesus Christ to lead you. I just want you to know that there are people out here that have a real genuine love and concern for you, and that, my friend, you can take to the bank. You lack for a better metaphor to say. You see, the love is for your spirit and for you to live forever in peace, and that love only Jesus Christ can provide. His love is the only that can save you, just as it saved me. Please, I beg you to consider Jesus Christ, and we will all go through this ordeal as brothers and sisters in Christ. Simply in God's grace, Robert A. Holler. Here's my mailing address if this letter ever finds you. Robert A. Holler, Turtle Lake, Wisconsin. May your great God and Savior bless you and give you the much needed peace that only he can provide. Amen on that. And now looks like we've got Hawaii Girl again. Oh Lord, she wrote something sideways. I'm going to get some tea. I'll be right back. Give me 1 minute, please. Okay. I changed it up and I did hot chocolate. Oh, works so good. My office is in the Jack and Jill thing, so very similar to how Bella and Cece's room was, except for the toilet has water in it. And I ended up putting my teapot in there because I got one of those Cuisinart. I advise everybody to get one of them, and it makes hot water just, what is it? I think it's like 2 minutes. But it takes a lot of power to do it, so it kept blowing the fuse in the kitchen. And so I'd have to figure out which plug-in to put it in to, to brew it and then, move it over. And so I was like, you know what? Why don't I just take it upstairs so it's right by where I would like to have it? Because, I'd go downstairs and make tea and then bring it up, but make sure that I didn't flip a breaker. And then I'd have to, go down to my son's room and have him flip the breaker and hope that he wasn't sleeping. And all that good stuff. So it works really good to just have it right there. And I've been drinking uh, the peppermint tea, like I was telling you guys, and it's really good. I have Crohn's disease, as I've shared with you guys, and the peppermint tea drinking is really, really soothing and helping me a lot. Um, it's just one of those things that, I didn't really understand how much it could help, but it really does. Um, just drinking the hot fluids, um, and cleaner eating. I'm being better about that. But and then just getting a bunch of tea bags and just being a tea drinker. And then I got these things on Christmas. These toppers for hot chocolate. They are marshmallow with crushed like candy cane on the top. I'll be sitting there making mouth love and having a mouth party while I'm talking to you guys. Okay, mouth party to begin. The only thing that's weird about it is that, like, it brews it super hot and then it doesn't really stay that hot in the teapot very long. Really weird. Or maybe it's just too freaking cold to keep anything hot. I don't know. So anyway, Hawaii girl wrote something sideways, and she's gonna break my heart doing so. Let me see here what I can say here. It says, I'm a little late in Hey Chris, October 5th. I'm a little late in writing to you this week. I was on vacation in New Zealand. Oh, you went there? New Zealand? It was for my job. Oh, I like your job, Miss Hawaii, and you're a very nice, supportive person. I think you're a very nice, supportive person, Miss Hawaii. I hope that you're listening as well. I think that you would be a great new resident for Watts Island. We'd love to extend an invitation to you. Would you like to be 850 Miss Hawaii? So anyway, it says it was boy, was that country absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, it looks like it. If you took Colorado and Hawaii and I don't know, that's what New Zealand would look like. So is it like if you took Colorado and Hawaii and doubled it, that's what it would look like? The people were... Jesus. Woman, why'd you have to do this sideways? Or why couldn't they have flipped it in? I don't know if I can do this without screwing up my laptop too much. Let me see here. Oh, Lord. Lord, okay. I'm a little... Okay, there we go. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let's see. The people were incredibly nice, too. I managed to muster up enough courage to do a base jump by wire maybe, off the hugest building in Auckland. Oh my gosh, twice. It was pure fear and excitement confirmed. I took a 2-hour nap after. Glad I did it though. So how are you doing so far? I think about you every day and say a prayer over you for protection, mental endurance, and courage. Keep up the good fight. And a miracle may be just around the corner. I just feel it. Oh, she's a very nice woman. Let me see here. Okay, now this is upright. Let's see. A scripture that has always gotten me through the tough times is, the Lord says, I will rescue those who love me. I will protect those who trust in my name. I promise Jesus is here to help you through this. I am on your side too. She's writing her really small here. In other news, it's been super hot and humid here in Hawaii this weekend. Makes me miss Colorado weather, especially in the fall. I think I read somewhere that you are really good with cars. Oh, if I could only talk to you about cars. I seem to always have car trouble. But 2 years ago, when I moved back here to Hawaii, I bought a 2007 Prius, maybe? One of the headlights tends to go on me, and something, I was quoted 500 to 1,000 to replace one headlight. Isn't that crazy? I mean, you know what? That's what I've heard about these Priuses and everything, and that their batteries are like freaking 5 grand to replace them, or I don't know, 50 grand, 5 grand, 50 grand, something like that. I mean, it's like it looks like they'd save you so much money and everything, but then they've got these things that are just ridiculous. And she says, "Isn't that crazy? I mean, come on, it's not a Mercedes, it's a damn Toyota for grand's sake." So maybe that's not a Prius. I don't know. Are Priuses Toyotas? I thought they were Chevys. So anyway, she says, "I can only hope that someone hits that side of my car someday. LOA, and let insurance pay for it." There you go. Oh, woman. Why the sideways thing again? Why, you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. What you doing? I hear you, Boo-Boo. Getting comfortable? Boo-Boo's in his box. He's loving this box I got the other day. Box, and I put some tissue paper in it. You're such a good boy. He's really doing good when I call him. He calls, and I just tell him which room to take me to, and he goes. Let's see. And he comes over here, for me to start my stuff, so he knows. So it's just, she says here, otherwise, and remember, this is kind of hard to read, so otherwise it's been a great car so far, which is something for me. Today is Sunday, so watching football, something, it's official, Broncos are terrible again this season. I think I mentioned before, my real favorite team is the Rams. I love their head coach, Sean McKay. It's kind of cute. His super something. I I hope they go to the Super meet. It's something. I expect them to go to the Super Bowl. If I were in Vegas, I'd put money on that. In one of my letters, I mentioned that I used to be a pro snowboarder back in the late 80s. Hey, I'm even in the snowboard museum in Vail. It's actually a video of me. Big hair and all. I was the something gymnastics champion, something belt, when I was 14 years old. So that helped me do spins and hand plates in the half pipe. And back at the beginning of snowboarding, no one wore helmets. In total, I've had about 17 concussions, head injuries. Anyway, not all from sports. Oh my God. But I definitely suffer from chronic neck pain. Yeah, I bet. All day, every day. And a couple of weeks ago, I started taking CBD oil, and it has taken away all of my pain, about 98%. It's a total miracle for me, as I thought I'd probably need spinal surgery. My pain was that severe. Hopefully, I do not have CTE like the NFL peeps got. I just got to say a prayer and trust God to keep me safe. And we'll see how CBD oil works throughout the years. I take it internally. That's if the federal government doesn't make it illegal. I almost need to make a. I almost want to make a bunch and hoard it. What did they say about the elephant? What did they say? What did the grape say when the elephant stepped on him? Grape? It didn't say anything. It just let me be a little white wine. Okay, what did the grape say when the elephant stepped on him? He didn't say anything. He just let out a little whine. Whine, ha ha. Will I have my. I hope my letter finds you in good spirits. I'll keep writing to you every week. You to touch base and give you support. Okay, your friend, Laurel. Laurel. Today she spelled it so you can see it with the L instead of the big squiggly. So it's Laurel. Laurel from Hawaii. Laurel. Laurel. Let's see. Okay, now we got somebody from Frederick, Colorado. County Jail. I mean, and when we did hear about, Chris Watts, all we heard is that he got all these death threats and everything, and that's why, they had to take him to Dodge in Wisconsin, and all this crap, and it's like, oh, come on. So anyway, I mean, they didn't say anything about this. They didn't give him his letters, That liars, just straight up liars. These marshmallow discs that they put in here for my hot chocolate are proving to be very, very resilient. So I've got like these little tiny marshmallow pizzas in here floating around, soaking off all the chocolate and the mint in them. Am I making you guys want hot chocolate really bad? I don't know why it's been so good lately, but it has. There's been so much snow melting and then re-snowing, and it's causing, of course, the stupid flooding, and had to deal with that again last night, but, it's always got to be something, right? Always got to be something. Can't ever actually get ahead. I spent like 3 hours cleaning, so of course something had to happen. No blood. Oh, anyway, this one says, Chris, I'm writing this letter to you to possibly come visit. A lot of people are very curious and confused, but I'm much more than that. You're a good friend, and I really thought you could have come talk to me. I've been through divorce and tough relationships in the past. I really could have helped you, I think, for our conversation August 13th at your house. On that night, I totally understood your situation. Well, at least what I thought was your situation. I know Shanann was hard on you, and so did everybody else. But dude, you could have done 1,000 things different. I know you're probably reflecting this by now, but it still tore me up so much to think you couldn't reach out. The CBI came to my work, BCSO, to interview me, and I told him how great of a dude you are. You would help anybody, and you were a great father. I also told them how overbearing Shanann could be, and that there's no way you had anything to do with their disappearance. People were saying your TV interviews, that guy is guilty, and I would stand up for you and say, you don't know Chris. He's always been a mild-mannered guy. Come to think of it, I don't even remember you ever even getting mad, yelling, cussing, or anything. I do remember watching you take the girls and their wagon up and down the street. Caden says he remembers riding his bike and would stop and talk to you. He always said Chris is so nice, Dad. Ellie did like to babysit for you guys as well. Annie was completely by your side as well, buddy. Chris, I always liked talking sports and cars with you and still remember the first day we met at LF. I was happy to see another guy from the South that loved the ACC. Hell, I was excited to tell you about the land I just bought down in Florida. And you guys, Especially you were always invited. We helped each other move into the neighborhood and became, I think, very good friends. I know both families were very busy and time was hard to find somewhere sometimes, but I would have always made time for you. Seriously, dude. I would have, and you know that. As part of why I'm writing you today. I called the WCSO and they said I needed to write a letter to you to get on the visitor list with your approval. I know you think the world probably hates you, and I honestly think most do. But there are some of us that know the real Chris Watts and would like to come and see you. In closing, my friend, I'm still confused and upset about this tragic event. Annie and I flew to North Carolina for the funeral. I can tell you it was very well done and, believe it or not, peaceful. And even though went to pay respects, I could not stop thinking of you the entire time. We even went to Fayetteville, not realizing that was your hometown. We went to visit a few things like the Special Operations Museum. Being I was in that world for many years, I wanted to go and see it. Well, enough said, I guess, but I hope that you would like to chat and see me as a visitor. I'm not judging you or anything like that. God bless, my friend, and I wish you as well as can be expected. David Colin. See, those are the things that would have mattered to him. Those are the things he needed to hear. You know? And look at how he said how hard Shanann was, and everybody knew that. They knew Shanann was hard on him. Did the CBI write that down? Not that it matters. Not that it matters to the end. But it builds the story. The gray area. The truth. Somewhere in the middle. Nikki Martinez again from Ohio. Let's hope to God I can read this. Dear Chris, I'd ask how you're doing, but I can only imagine. I don't know if you've received and read the first letter I wrote to you. See, one more time. I mean, again, all these people saying, why haven't you written back? And there's nothing saying he's written back to anybody. Why wouldn't he have? He's a nice guy, and back then he was so obedient, he would have felt like he had to, or else these other people would feel bad. He wasn't going to just not write a letter. That's ridiculous. He had nothing else to do. Nothing. And these people were just asking about general topics, not like, oh, what happened? They're just trying to offer support. Why wouldn't he have? So she says, I'd ask you how you're doing, but I can only imagine. I don't know if you've received the first letter I wrote you. At this point, the girls are throwing themselves at you, claiming they are in love with you. Honey, these girls don't even know you. They're the same as I don't know you either. But I'm not confessing that I'm in love with you. But I will say that your story could bring some truth to it if it's true. You said that you had an emotional conversation with your wife, and it turns out it was supposedly about you wanting a separation, and you didn't want the marriage no more. She's always saying how you're the best thing that's ever happened to her, and she also said Chris would do anything. I say no matter what, it is you do anything for her. It is very possible that she lost it when you told her that you wanted a divorce, and maybe she did choke the girls and you killed her out of rage, and then you panicked, I'm assuming. Arrow to the next page. You were too good of a father to have done such a horrific crime. But because you killed Shanann, you panicked and done the unthinkable. I'm really on your side. You were not treated like a man for many years, and you couldn't take that anymore. I could be wrong. I could be right. I wish to hear back from you and become friends and get to know each other. The only way we can get to know each other is to communicate, and I swear I'll never go public with anything because I don't want to get involved with the media. Most people think whoever could possibly think you're innocent of a lot of the charges. They think we are all crazy. To hell with what they think, but I just don't want to get that kind of attention. I just want to get to know the real Chris Watts. It's all up to you. But I promise you that I won't pour out any information you give me. I'm not any kind of a reporter. I'm a single mother who works at a grocery store who don't make much money. I stopped my education when I was in the ninth grade because I got married and had kids. She writes good for and spells good for ninth grade education. Oh, same. Because I got married and had kids. My oldest is 26, son Larry. Middle, Jasmine, 22, and Cameron's son, he's 14. All I do is work, clean my house, and help take care of my parents. I have not dated any man since my ex-husband, beat me half to death 10 years ago. That's pretty much my story. I've lived in state housing. Rent is based on my income. If my writing English is horrible, it's because of dropping out of school. I say she writes really well, a lot better than some people who act like they're so much better than everybody else. She says, I believe things happen for a reason, and people aren't all together when they snap. I mean, who wakes up and says, damn, I think today I want to get up and just go kill people, especially my family. Something happens to make people do what they do or don't do. I've tried to commit suicide. I wasn't in my right mind when I did that, but one person can only take so much. If you witnessed your wife strangling the kids, you killed Shanann because you must have freaked out. Then, when all done, I believe you panicked. Please, Chris, keep in touch with me. Whatever the case, I just want to be your friend and let you know you're not alone. Let's get to know each other, regardless if we've done good or bad. There's a reason for everything, and we all need friends outside of family. I promise you, no matter what, I won't think any different of you. I'm not 100%. I have severe depression and bipolar too. I deal with it every day. I hope to hear from you, I really do. I worry about you every day when it comes to suicide. Please know you found a true friend in me. I've never wrote to anyone in jail before, but there is something about you, something I find very intriguing, fascinating, and I believe you weren't happy. I'm gonna leave it here. Hopefully I hear from you. Please believe in me and everything I say to you. Sincerely, Nikki. Please write back and let's get to know one each other. I hope to hear from you. Okay. So, I mean, it's just another person. I wouldn't have. I mean, I think it's interesting these girls who are writing in the beginning, and that have said that they don't normally do this too. I wouldn't have wrote to him in the beginning. I 1000% believe the narrative. I wasn't paying that much attention to it. I was busy with other things, but I mean, I had no reason to really look beyond the headlines. And then just as I saw it more, and saw past those wonderful family pictures of this wonderful family, I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on here? And the stay at home mom putting her kids in daycare made me go, what? I'm like, well, if she's making so much money and she's got to, you know, do this, then why is it just that she works from home and he works there? Why is it a stay at home mom? Why were they putting her as a stay at home mom at all? Well, that part I didn't get. And then when I started becoming a member of not just one but two MLMs, that's what really got me. Because when the get togethers for them, mine were each just once a year, but I saw all the fees involved with going. And I was like, what? and then how hard it is to make money and how you really are not supposed to advertise on this and that, and how are you supposed to keep people on your Facebook if you're advertising like that. People will unfriend you, they'll stop following you. But that's because I would never exploit my children into showing their face and you know talking about how they're a part of my business. Yes, most of the Tupperware I got, my daughter was using because she had to go and make her little charcuterie trays for her lunches her junior and senior year. Well, most of her junior year was the pandemic, but I mean, so that's where she, really got in the habit of just making these incredible charcuterie lunches. So then, she had to have the little bento boxes and everything, and put her aged cheese in a little aged cheese Tupperware thing I could get, and all the Tupperware things I could have so that, all of her stuff would stay fresh and separate. And the principal and the teachers would see her little spread at lunch. They're like, oh my gosh, pay you to make our lunch too, you know? I didn't put her up there and be like, oh, look, because of Tupperware. I should have, though. I really should have. But I mean, how many times can you do that? I mean, it was absolutely manipulative and exploitive to do that. Saying because of this product, I can do this. I didn't see going on family vacations. Didn't see her taking them on road trips. Didn't see the family going out and try to camp. I mean, even, camping would be glamping. But I never saw any family vacations and them having that much fun and going for a day drive out to wherever they talk about these places in Colorado. Colorado looks absolutely beautiful. I mean, she'd do things, he'd do things, the adults would do things, but the girls never got to do anything. That time when she was talking about going to the zoo, never saw any pictures of going to the zoo, did you? And how many of us can say that we had that many people at home? That many people. Who has a friend that comes out and will take over the household duties and care of the kids for 6 weeks? Who has a Christina Meacham in their life? My God. And then just all of the other people that she had, that would watch the kids. Nick. I don't think that. I think I maybe had like 5 people max over all of my 30 years of being a parent of 6 that I birthed, and then how many strays I've taken in. I've never had more than, I think I can count like maybe 5 people I babysat, and it's like only for like an absolute, special event. Nothing like what I've ever seen there. No one living in my house. Anyway, let's see here. Weld County Office of the District Attorney. Officer report for incident 18DA 00135. Well, what do we have? Dan Boyle. Disposition Act. All right, what do we have here? What do we have here? Is this just you? Description of Kelly Carmen, Rule 16 pod video, evidence assist incident. What do we have here? What do we have? Officer report for incident. What happened? What happened here? There was an incident in the jail. Okay, what happened? What happened? Rule 16 pod video. Okay, what happened? What happened? Get to it. What happened? Okay, here we go. Narrative on 10/17/18. I received 2 CDs from Nicole Morrow from NJC. These CDs contain the security camera video footage from October 4th, 2018, from Pod 9 when the Rule 16 was executed on inmate Watts. One of the CDs is protected and cannot be altered. The second CD is a copy of the protected document. These CDs were given to Investigator Holscher for discovery. End of report. Okay, so what happened? What is this? What is Rule 16? Huh? Let me pop it in my phone really quick. Because I've got to know. Phone's not up. Rule 16. Okay, anything to say here what we have? Okay. Evidence incident, blah, 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 blah. Just, these are just headers that say what it doesn't say what happened. Okay. So it just says miscellaneous documents included with the supplemental report. And then it says, I received the original CDs from the Rule 16 footage back from Investigator Holscher. The CDs were placed in a sealed K-Pack and logged into Spillman Evidence. Item 262 and placed in our evidence locker. Okay. Larimer County Sheriff's Office. Assist other law... Okay, so... This is from a jail transport. Okay. Now, just a second. And then we'll figure this out. Let's see. Rule 16. Rule 16. Criminal procedure. Okay, so what it says for Rule 16 criminal procedure, it says upon a defendant's request, the government must disclose to the defendant the substance of any relevant oral statement made by the defendant before or after arrest in response to interrogation by a person the defendant knew was a government agent if the government intends to use the statement at trial. Okay. So let's see if we can do for Weld County. So basically what it says is that it requires prosecutors to give defendants any exculpatory evidence, which is evidence that suggests the defendant is not guilty of the crimes charged. Okay, so there's Rule 16 in Colorado. This rule requires that every statement made by the accused, which is in the possession or control of the district attorney and which relates in any way to the series of events from which the charges pending against the accused arose, must be disclosed to the defense upon an appropriate motion. So maybe he said something. It was heard by the officers in the jail, the corrections officers, and they got the recording and they have it. That's the best I can get out of this. I don't know though. Now, what we have here is we have, so the other things were just page headers for the CDs that had whatever happened that they put under Rule 16. Now, Larimer County Sheriff's office in Fort Collins, Colorado, has something here where it's Officer Santos Romero. And it says that they are assisting another law agency, and this is on 927. And it says it's a transportation. Okay, so it's a successful transportation. Now, the summary narrative here says active case status. On 9/26/18, an advertisement ad was found in the Fort Collins Craigslist site under the collectibles section, with a person claiming to have items related to Chris Watts. I am aware that Chris Watts is a suspect in Weld County for murder. I took 3 screenshots of the ad to include the email address used to contact the person posting it. I did this in the event the ad was removed. The screenshots were downloaded onto the department's approved digital storage system. The heading for the advertisement was Chris Watts semen-stained boxers, $500. The body of the ad stated, "These are legit and I have pics to prove it. Serious offers only." The ad stated it was posted on 9/22/18 at 1810 hours. I contacted Kathy Holscher from the Weld County District Attorney's Office and relayed the information to her. I generated a report of an assist to another law enforcement agency and downloaded the screenshots. I have also emailed Kathy Holscher and advised her of the report number for her records. And then it says the attachment, the evidence property log, and the report. In other words, allegedly, Trent Bolt is trying to make another $500. Allegedly, by what I think. Okay, so now it says active case, do not release. And it says not interchangeable subject, and it says the email has for sale on Craigslist. And that's a violation of Craigslist too. To sell underwear with a stain of any kind or used garments is strictly prohibited online. So we just have this, and it says that it's the assist the other agency. 3 pictures of the Craigslist ad. Just says that that's what they gave them. Oh, and then here we go. We have the ad. Chris Watts semen-stained boxers. Can you believe this case? And it just has the email address to do. And Chris Watts semen-stained boxers, $500. These are legit, and I have pics to prove it. Serious offers only. What do you think that you are? What's her name? Monica Lewinsky. Okay, then so then the next ad has Jack Daniels collectibles, Wiccan and goddess statues. Okay, crime victim, and then that's all that there was. So I don't know if that was all the other things under there, or that's what the other person has for sale. But anyway, the next thing is crime victim compensation program, and this is the DA office, Michael Rourke, and it says here comments $10,000. This notice is to inform you and other interested parties that the Crime Victim Compensation Board in the 19th Judicial District has, as a result of the crime that is the basis for the action described above, awarded the above listed funds on behalf of the victim or co-victim. Crime Victim Compensation respectfully requests that restitution be reserved pursuant to CRS and 18 TAC 1.3 TAC 6031-C, which refers to an order. In addition to or in place of a specific amount of restitution, the defendant pay restitution covering the actual costs of specific future treatment of any victim of the crime. If restitution is ordered or an existing order needs to be modified, the contact information on all motions should be listed as. Okay. So it says for the burial. It says burial, $10,000. 2 payments, total paid to date. So, how did they get $10,000 out of Christopher Watts' um, account, estate, whatever. What did they cash in? What did they sell? And I thought that her parents raised all the money for the burial. Um, or was that for that fancy backyard pizza oven? Backyard looks like a beautiful, beautiful place to make pizza. So there you go. So this must be the second part where there's the 10,000. What did they cash in? Because there's the 2 payments of $10,000. Copies of it. Where did the $10,000 come from? Okay. And then we have here 6,399 for burial. So wait, how many burial is each burial? So 2 payments of 10,000, and then 6,399. So go 2 at 10K, and then 6,399. I don't see that they had that much to cash in unless some of that furniture was being sold, or is that allegedly somebody who had access to the house selling his semen stained boxers, and that's how they're doing this. Okay, because then what do we have here? Oh, crime victim Frank Rusick. What do you know? So he's listed as the crime victim. So now Frank Rusick put in a claim against Christopher Watts for $2,756 for economic support. Okay, so that's about 30 grand so far. So Frank Rusick is listed as the victim of the crime. Oh, and then Sandra put in 2,652 against him for economic support. The life insurance wasn't enough? Let's see, and that is 1017. So, more probably like 32,000 to the Rusicks. Right there. And then it says in here it's got that Rule 16 jail video. And then it says they've got in here it's zipping up all these files. It says it's got the Conoco North and South registers, the radio traffic, the initial off report from Coonrod, Perez BWC photos, Perez BWC zip, the Bedsol system test. What's Bedsol system test videos? I don't know. And then Watts disclosure, Watts body's location, Watts interview room, Watts polygraph. What's Bedsol? Hold on. Let me see here. Bedsol. System. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that is then. Huh. And then Dacono, Coder, James, Dahl, James. So these are all of their zip files that are all embedded in there. Love. Let's see. Okay, then the James Walmart video, Levi Husk video, James Manley, Lines, and James. Flatiron ultrasound zip. I'd love to get my hands on that one. Interview room prep, Ann Atkinson, Seawatts truck, security footage from 6432 Saratoga Trail. All zipped up in those files. Now, we have this from Dave Baumhover on 10/12/2018. It says on 10/11/18, I received a copy of CBI laboratory reports from reporting sections, latent prints, and digital evidence analysis. The latent prints report dated 10/1/18 indicates 8 latent prints suitable for comparison were observed, and major case prints are required for comparison testing. It should be noted that the major case prints were collected and submitted to the lab prior to receiving this report. The digital evidence analysis report, dated 10/03/18, outlined the results of the forensic examinations of the 4 cell phones previously submitted to the lab for processing. I provided a scanned copy of the reports for placement into the digital case file and a hard copy for the physical case file. Nothing further. Detective Dave Baumhover. So now we've got something from the CBI, Forensic Services Division, and that's these latent prints here. And, okay, so then we have this, and it's all of the, so it's got the prints, it's got the partial rake hand, it's got fingerprints from Shanann, it's got the trash bags, the CD containing that, it's got debris, it's got hair from the lid of the oil tank, the Survey 319. Let's see here. What else does it have? So just more procedural here. More procedural. And it says the latent prints. Latent 7 through 7.1 through 7.8 were suitable for entry into the federal database, but were not entered into at this time due to the unknown anatomical origin of the friction ridge impressions. And then it says clear and complete major case prints to include palm prints, fingerprints, and barefoot impressions of Christopher L. Watts and Shanann C. Watts, as well as any other party of interest, are required for comparisons to be completed. Item C1 will be forwarded for further analysis. And then we have the cell phones laboratory report. It says a description of evidence. So they've got the work phone, cell phone of Chris Watts. We've got Shanann's cell phone. We've got Nicole Kessinger's cell phone. Then findings from items 40 through 43. It says reports were generated from Axiom and Cellbrite for all submitted items. These reports include numerous sub-reports, which may assist in review of the data. Sub-reports include chats, timeline, contacts, web-based artifacts, and more. All reports have been provided on CD2. Reports should be reviewed in their entirety. Okay, so the processing photos have been separated into different categories corresponding with the item number. These photographs include details from the phone which weren't captured with the automated tools. Axiom reports have been generated from Axiom. One report is all extracted data. The second report consists of a portable case report. When available, I've included a message report which includes all available messages in a single report. Portable case report is designed to load and customize searches, and reports can be exported. So we got all of that. It says data for apps such as Facebook and Facebook Messenger is not provided due to the security of the iPhone and the permissions set by the app manufacturer. For each item, a portable case report was generated using both Axiom and Cellbrite, which allows for customized searches and sub-report to be created if necessary. Additionally, I created HTML-based reports from each tool which should be reviewed. Reports include timeline, SMS messages, contacts, mobile artifacts, web-based artifacts, and more. The iPhone is very efficient at deleting user content in a manner that makes recovery difficult or impossible. Within each report, I have included the deleted content that was recoverable. Item 40 is a black-colored iPhone 5S. Prior to processing, photos were taken to document the phone's condition. This phone was secured by way of a PIN which was provided. 387. Prior to processing, the phone was placed in a Ramsey box to charge. It was determined the phone was in airplane mode, and therefore the phone was removed and processed using both Cellbrite and Axiom. I reviewed the timeline within the Cellbrite's report, and it appeared the noted last message on 8/12/18 was sent at 18:12, and the next message was sent on 8/13/18 at 06:31, following an attempted phone call to Cody Roberts at 6:29. Huh. Black colored iPhone. I thought that Shenan's was the rose gold. So I'm looking at this. Let me see here. Black iPhone. Yeah, because Shenan's was the... Let me see here. Because Chris's phones were black. Black iPhone 5S. Work. Personal. It doesn't say like what model that one is. And then Shenan's was rose gold iPhone. NK's was an iPhone 6. Okay. So rose gold iPhone. So the black iPhones that they're talking about would be iPhone 5S, so that would be Chris's. The last message on 8/12 was sent at 18:12, and the next message was sent on 8/13/18 at 06:31, following an attempted phone call to Cody Roberts at 06:29. Well, 06:31 is after 6:29, so 06:29 and 06:31 were to Cody Roberts. Okay. Then it says, I manually reviewed the phone's content and documented several artifacts found within the phone, to include the health data section and the location services on the phone. These photographs include physical activity such as steps and other movement related to activity dated on 8/12 and to 13/18. The location services noted activity in Roggen on 8/13/18. All of this information will be available with the processing photos for the device. Below are some of the screenshots found with the processing photos. Okay. So, significant locations: Roggen, Erie, North Glen, Platteville, and then I don't see what the rest. And it shows this, and it shows 9:54 to 1:06, 9:10 to 9:30, 12:06 to 12:57, 7:15 to 2:24. It shows in that area. And then it says walking, running. So it shows walking. It shows the activity. It would break down, so it doesn't show us exactly what time. But it says that he walked, 0.63 miles. So it would be interesting. I mean, it looks like, there was all this activity at that time, but that's when he, which corroborates what he says when he woke up. This happened, he went downstairs, and then the unthinkable happened, and so that activity would be there. Now, so it's showing that activity in those steps, because then it says, there's a total of 2,039 steps. It doesn't show, I can't see what time that's showing. Okay. So it says item 41 is a black iPhone 7. Which was secured with a pin 3387. The phone was removed from the evidence packaging and placed into the Ramsey box to prevent the phone from connecting to the cellular network. The phone was not in airplane mode. Once switched to airplane mode, the phone was processed using the tools described above. I briefly reviewed the phone's contents and noted several artifacts which were documented by way of processing photos. Some of these photos have been provided below. Photographs were taken on 8/13/18 in the Roggen area. This information can be found within the locations data on the Cellbrite report. A screen capture has been provided. Okay. It's showing these calls at 8:13, 12:16, on 8:13, 12:16, 12:16, 7:18. I'm assuming that the iPhone 7 would be his work phone, because it didn't say what version his work phone was. That's the only thing I can think of. And it says, I reviewed the web history for the phone and noted the following two entries which were detailed or deleted, and therefore date and time stamps are not available. Okay. And then it says here they've got web activity for Google, how to delete Instagram account. There you go. And then a Google search of 80 milligrams of oxycodone. Huh. Why was there a search? And supposedly, I'm assuming, is Christopher Watts' phone. Let's see. I reviewed the web history for the phone and noted the following two entries which were deleted, and therefore the time state. So these two things for the web history were deleted, but they were there. How to delete Instagram account and 80 milligrams of oxycodone. So the 80 milligrams of oxycodone that's a ton of oxycodone, for those of you who are wondering what that means. Let's see. So a normal dosage for pain would be 5 to 10 milligrams every 4 to 6 hours based on my personal experience taking oxycodone over the years for chronic pain. So we know that there were the hearsay of him putting oxycodone into a smoothie. He admitted to doing at some point. We don't know what he was planning on doing. I do believe that that's when she was pregnant. I don't know where I saw that. I don't know where I can prove that. So I'm marking that, as hearsay, because I can't remember the source right now. But for somebody to put that in there, to find that exact prescription, not exact prescription, but that medication in her purse, so it's something that he could have easily accessed, because as the story was, and I don't know if it was when she was in North Carolina, but she asked him to make her a smoothie, and he admitted to putting in that medication. Gosh, I can't remember where I saw that. Good morning, Boo Boo. Yeah, you might have missed dinner. You gotta go down there and look. Look down there and look for your dinner? You're still sleeping? We're doing this slow blinking at each other. You guys do the slow blinking with your cats? It's how they communicate their love. You slowly blink and then they slowly blink back at you. I learned that on Jason Galaxy. So, anyway, he searched for the 80 milligrams of oxycodone. And then it says web activity for 8/12 to 8/13 is 4-star, top secret, Aspen, Snowman's Village. And this is blurry. And then it says Metallica, Battery lyrics. Battery, Metallica lyrics. So this is where where he listened to the song Battery 3 times in a row. But why did he look at... So at 10:33 in the morning on 8/13, he looked up 4-star top secret Aspen area hotel in Snowman Village at 10:33. Well, remember, they were thinking of going out of town that weekend, so that could either work for or against his case. And then 3 searches for Battery. Okay. And then his next search was for Primrose School of Erie at Vista Ridge. And he called that at 8:26. Primrose, 8:26. And then he's checking out the nutrition of blueberries on 8/12. I would really hate it if my web searches were ever somewhere where people are reviewing it, especially for the things I look at for my true crime stuff. So then, let's see, on the 8/12, it has incoming from Shanann Watts. What's that? Does that look like it's 9:29? And then instant messages from Shanann Watts. Tried calling you to give you update. Was standing to board, and they announced that our crew isn't here yet, and it's going to be a minimum of 1 hour before they're here. And so her plane was delayed. And then outgoing to her, he says, "Holy crap, sorry I passed out on the couch. That's going to be late." And then log entries, and it's something with Vivint. Something, I don't know. Log entries, something. image location. And that's on 8/13. Okay, so log entries 1:58 a.m. at Vivint. What happened at is that their alarm? Yeah, that's probably their alarm where it says Vivint. That's probably when Shanann came in at 1:48. 1:48 or 1:58 it says there. And then 8:15 at 2:18. Wi-Fi something, Wi-Fi out. Image location something. Okay, what does this chart say? This chart has a box for something and it said yes. So, and it doesn't show what that is. Wonderful. Wonderful. 7:18 a.m. Just an image of something. It shows the location, the grid of where he was at 7:18. I assume that's what that GPS. It looks like a GPS, definitely. And then outgoing instant messages on 8:13 from Chris Watts says if you take the kids somewhere, please let me know where they are at with an exclamation point. And that was at 7:40 in the morning. So at 7:40, he texted her. Said, if you take the kids somewhere, please let me know where they're at. That could work for his defense. Because then he didn't call the school until 8:26. So he could still be going with her saying she's going to take the kids somewhere and with a friend and wouldn't say where. And he's going, okay, well, what? You know, I mean, that could still... That would be... I mean, yeah, that would fit. And then outgoing call log, he tries to call Shanann at 8:25. She doesn't answer. Then, you know, he called at like 8:26 to the next thing, or he'd called at 7:40. She didn't answer. So it's all going right back to where he says this is exactly what he was saying in his questioning. And then he calls at 8:26 to the Primrose School. And then outgoing to somebody. Outgoing to Ann Meadows is the next call at 8:28. And then something for a Groupon on 8:12. And then 10:03:37 from Mama Roo. And then we've got the right after Mama Roo calls, then it's the Battery Metallica lyrics again. So that's where, okay. So right after Mama Roo calls, then he listens to Battery Metallica 3 times. 4 times. And then it says health data. I manually reviewed the health data for the phone during 8:12:13 to 18 time frame and noted below screenshots which may be of interest. This activity is created based on movement on the phone during a given time frame. Additional screenshots can be found within the processing photos on this item. Okay. It shows the walking, and it shows that I can't see where it is showing the times, but showing, you know, the time that he was up and around or whatever, which all goes right to where he was saying it was. And then it says below is the location data found in the significant location section of the phone. And it shows that again, that Greatwood, Longmont, Greenery, something. Then before it shows the places in North Carolina he was, but it's all too blurry. Then it says the specific location within Roggen is, as seen from the satellite, is not shown doing to the phone being off the network. Okay. So then it's showing the circle of where he was. And it says data from this phone can be found within the Cellbrite and Axiom reports on CD2 for this item number. And then it says item 42 is a pink and white iPhone 7, which is secured with a 6-digit PIN. 013119. So that would be the due date. Of Nico. Which was the pin. And it says the phone was found to be in airplane mode and was processed using Axiom and Cellbrite. The phone had in excess of 100 gigabytes of storage capacity and over 200,000 messages. Over 200,000 messages. In excess of 100 gigabytes of storage capacity. How much extra storage did that cost a month? $200,000 messages. Was that everybody saying, "Where are ya? Where are ya? Where are ya? Where are ya?" Then it says, I briefly reviewed the phone's content and documented several artifacts which can be found within the processing photos. Additionally, I have provided some of the health data activities below. Below are excerpts from the timeline sub-report found within the Cellbrite report. Okay. So the instant message comes in, and it's here, and it says, and it's from Addie Maloney, and it's 8/12/18 at 9:36. 8/12/18, 9:36 from Addie Maloney. Okay. So it says, can you please tell me something? Because just like you, I'm in my head. I'm really trying to fix things and make them better, and this is making me crazy. I know that you need time, and I want to give you what you're asking for and respect your space. It's so hard for me in so many ways, but I'm trying. This place that I'm in my head is not a good place. It's not healthy for me and Nico. Or Nico. Okay. So this says from, but it's actually to. Okay, so from this, and it says, okay, so this is her saying this to Addie Maloney. Can you please tell me something? Because just like you, I'm in my head. I'm really trying to fix things and make them better, and this is making me crazy. I know that you need time, and I want to give you what you're asking for and respect your space. It's so hard for me in so many ways, but I'm trying. This place that I'm in my head is not a good place. It's not healthy for me and or Nico. I really want to help you. I really want to feel like if I know what I did or didn't do to get to this place. I'm going crazy in my head, trying to figure it out. I know I can't fix this by myself, and we're going to have to work together. If I could do anything to make this get better, what would it be? And then she says, do I text him that now? So this is what she's trying to ask Addie if she should ask Chris, as opposed to it being like Addie saying that she needs space. It's weird. So she writes this out and then says, should I text him this now? So this is what she would be writing him at 9:36 at night. When she's coming home, the flight had been delayed. So this is where her head was. This is what she says. She says, can you please tell... So this is what she wrote to him, perhaps. This is what she says. Can you please tell me something? Because just like you, I'm in my head. I'm really trying to fix things and I'm trying to make them better. This is making me crazy. I know that you need time and I want to give you what you're asking for and respect your space. It's so hard for me in so many ways, but I'm trying. This place that I'm in my head is not a good place. It's not healthy for me and or Nico. I really want to help you. I really want to feel like I know what I did or didn't do to get to this place. I'm going crazy in my head trying to figure it out. I know I can't fix this by myself, and we're going to have to work together. If I could do anything to make this get better, what would it be? Okay, so that's what she asked Addie Maloney, if that's what she should text Christopher Watts right then and there. That's where that text is. So what we can see from that is that in North Carolina and wherever, Chris said, I'm done. I need space. And she's like, well, it's not healthy for me and the baby. And it's Niko. That's how she spells Nico. Because she was able to then say it, because they supposedly had the search, or the ultrasound gender, whatever. But anyway. So, and then it says from wherever it's her outgoing, it says, tried calling you to give you an update. It was standing to board. Okay, so then that's where she wrote to Christopher. They had no crew to fly. That's a problem. And then she wrote to him, finally on plane and about to take off. Thank God. Prayers for a safe flight. Love you. And that was at 11:08 p.m. And that's where he wrote back 11:21. Holy crap. Sorry I passed out on the couch. That's going to be late. And then says something Southwest Airlines. And then voicemail, Southwest Airlines. And then it has at 8:12. It should be 8:13, but it looks like it's 8:12. But it says from Shanann Watts to Nikki Utoft and Cassie Rosenberg. It says landed. Because that was it. It says 8/12/2018, 1:25:23. But that should be 1:13. But it looks like it's 1:12. But it's blurry. And it says at 2:01 from Nikki Utoft to Shanann Watts to Cassie. It says we are home. And then this is where we get this again, where it says, if you take the kids somewhere, please let me know where they are at. From Chris Watts. From Chris Watts. And then at 8:13, at 9 o'clock in the morning, Cassie says, how are you doing, honey? And then at 8:13, at 9:05 a.m., it says appointment reminder. And then it looks like there's a voicemail there at 9:49, so maybe when she missed her appointment. And then it says, incoming from Cassie Rosenberg. She says, honey, you have me worried about you. Just tell me you're okay and just don't want to talk. Then it says, I manually reviewed the health data for the phone during the 8:12 to 13:18 time frame and noted the below screenshots of may be of interest. This activity is created based on movement of the phone during a given time frame. Additional screenshots can be found within the processing photos of this item. And then, so it says the 3,792 steps. Um, walking 1.4 miles. Steps. Running. It doesn't say, like times and stuff. Shows some activity and 4,443 steps, the day before. And then let's see. On 8/14, web history. It says, please share and pray that beautiful Shanann Watts and her 2 precious daughters are found safe. They are from the Erie and Frederick, Colorado area. Shanann Watts and her 2 daughters, Bella Celeste, are missing. She made it home to Colorado from Scottsdale, Arizona. Her husband left for work at 5 a.m., but Shanann never made it to the school for the girls' first day back. Her car and phone were found at home, but these 3 have not been found. Shanann is 15 weeks pregnant. Thank you and God bless. So that was like maybe sent to Chris or something, because now I see this next thing, because it must have been sent to him to send or whatever. And then the next web history, oh my God, 8/14/2018 at 5 o'clock p.m. It says, can cops trace text messages? What was the search? It says yes. And then the next thing says, can cops trace text messages? Yes. Then it says, how long do phone companies keep text messages? Google search. Whatever the sign, it must be a different thing where it says yes, 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 and these other things. But then it says in the next thing, how long do phone companies keep text messages? Then how long do that's what he's searching on the web. And it's, another thing, it's like, how long do phone thing? And then between text messages, content, text cell, difference between text message contact and text message detail, difference between text message contact and text message detail. That search is there. And then it says, can you get printouts of text messages? Verizon community. Can you get printouts of text messages? Okay. Several searches for Christopher Watts can be found prior to 8/12/18. These entries appear to have been deleted. I searched for the numbers, whatever, blah, 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 and found no results. I did locate name searches for Chris Watts dated back to 08317. And Shanann Watts dating back to 010718. So hold on, she's missing something in the one. And it says these entries were deleted but were recoverable. So, a couple of things here. It says both reports should be reviewed in their entirety. End of item 43, and it says disposition of evidence. And it says the CD2 has been placed in the evidence vault pending release back to the submitting agencies. As requested, 2 working copies will be created, one for Detective Prill and the second for the submitting agency. Due to the large volume of data, no lab copy will be created. The original data has been placed on CD2. The forensic data will be maintained for only 120 days. Darren Ford, detective. All right. So then it says, just some things that it says, while comparing property to the digital media log, record supervisor Purcell noted the following items had 2 separate tag numbers assigned. And it shows the video footage from T. Young, L. Husk, Home Depot, 6432 Saratoga, McDonald's, initial 911 and radio logs, and the BWC recordings of phone calls made by Officer James, identical copies. While converting these items to the electronic case, Purcell inadvertently created a secondary item number for each item. Well. Then let's see here. While completing inventory of the Frederick Police Department's vehicle impound recovery reports, Record Supervisor Purcell obtained 2 tow slips in regards to the vehicle associated with Watts. Both vehicles were seized on 8/15/18. See Officer Goodman Supplemental Report Number 5 and Sergeant Manley Supplemental Report 68 for further information. The tow slips have been scanned and added to the case file. I don't understand how Frank and Sandra were listed as the crime victims. I mean, for them to have gotten that money out for economical damages, $5,000, 26 each. I mean, I could see them asking for the burial funds from the estate, being settled, but I don't see them as the crime victims. The crime victims are Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Nico. They're the victims of the crime. I don't get that. But anyway. Now it says seized investigation for the impound lot. They just wanted their hands on that Lexus, because here's this is this impound thing for this Lexus, and it's like they didn't have any equity in that Lexus. They were making the lease payment, or the vehicle was in Christopher Watts' name. Christopher Watts was not selling enough to have been making the payment. She found out the kind of cars that would be granted under their lease program, got that vehicle, acted like she had earned that vehicle, and they were making the Christopher Watts was making the payment to the vehicle, whether he knew it or not. He didn't know it. But her family wanted that. And it says, because that was the thing, the car, the Lexus, that they still have. Vehicle was sealed for transport to secured facility pending investigatory process by evidence technician. They wanted that Lexus. So the vehicle investigation, criminal investigation. And it says, evidence, do not open, do not release. They shouldn't have. It should have went right back to where it was leased from, and that's that. So then it says here, between October 9th and October 10th, Record Supervisor Purcell obtained the return and inventory court-ordered production of records for the following items from Detective Baumhover. Cellco Partnership, Verizon Wireless in regards to the phone number, Vivint Smart Home, AT&T Compliance Center, Cellco Partnership, AT&T National Compliance Center. So there we go, and it has all their phone numbers there. And then it says Record Supervisor Purcell received return inventory documents for the search warrants following from, so they got search warrants for the Apple iPhones. And it said these documents were scanned individually and added to the case file. And the originals were subsequently mailed via the U.S. Postal Service to the Weld County Clerk of the Court. Nothing further, Purcell. Now, this is a search warrant, and it says, on the 2nd day of October, I duly executed within the search warrant by taking to my possession from the phone named in said warrant certain property, and the following is true, and it says CBI extraction reports containing all recoverable forensic physical data. And I further certify that said inventory was made by me, and a copy of the warrant was left inside the evidence packaging of the black and color iPhone 6 cellular phone under Frederick Police Department case number 18, tax 06743, and evidence tag number 14778. The place from which the property was taken, Detective Dave Baumhover, Amanda Purcell. They had it notarized. Oh, Purcell is also a notary public. Okay. Wait. Amanda. Christine Purcell. Okay. She's a notary public and the deputy clerk. Okay, let me see here. And then she's got the combined cords sealed. Okay, so now sealing application affidavit in support of search warrant for black and color iPhone. Comes now Michael J. Rourke, District Attorney, in and for the 19th Judicial Court, County of Weld, State of Colorado, and respectfully moves his honorable court to enter an order pursuant to CRS, blah, 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 sealing application and affidavit in support of search warrant for black and color Apple iPhone 6. Okay? So, this information contains the sealing application affidavit for the search warrant for black and color for iPhone 6. My God, is this the whole case? All right, apparently so. Signed there. And then to the people of the, oh my God, it's more for getting this phone, the search warrant for the phone. The Apple iPhone 6. Okay, how about if you just let us know what's all in it instead of all of these search warrants for it? Okay, I see it. Now let's see. Ooh, here we are. So it says, based on the following facts. So this is what they want out of that phone. It says, you're affiant as a detective. Oh, okay. It just gives the synopsis of the case and why they needed the search warrant once again. So, and then it does say it here where it says that she was concerned because Shanann was not answering her phone calls. She had a doctor's appointment at 10 o'clock. Went to Shanann's residence, noticed her car with the seats. Okay, but she's not saying the 9 o'clock time that she went. This is stating more in the afternoon, just the same thing. Let's see. So Coonrad arrived, questioned. Watts stated. So it's just the same thing. Same thing. So it's just they cut and pasted why they need this search warrant. It's in the whole thing. And we do get in here where they go down to where they found the bed sheet and the trash can. So they go further into the case and how they're further, at some point it was just copied and pasted where they were at. Now this goes further into the search warrant and why they want this. And this is added on to where it says, as the interview continued in Frederick, Watts admitted his affair with Kessinger. Watts said he never felt the same way about anyone in his life compared to the way he felt about Kessinger. Watts continued to deny any knowledge regarding the disappearance of Shanann and the girls. At one point, Agent Lee asked Watts if Shanann did something to the girls that caused him to do something to her. In response to what Watts said, no, they were at the house when I left. Watts remained adamant that Shanann would never hurt Bella or Celeste, and they both loved the girls with all their heart. Watts would eventually ask to speak with his father, who was present at the Frederick Police Department. Afterwards, Watts told investigators that after he told Shanann he wanted a separation, he walked downstairs for a moment. Watts said when he returned to his bedroom to speak with Shanann further, she was not in the room. Watts said from a baby monitor located on Shanann's nightstand, he observed Bella sprawled out on her bed and blue. Watts said he saw Shanann, via the monitor, actively strangling Celeste. So here we are on page 1615 of 1960 of the Discovery, and they're still at that story. So now it says, Watts said he flew into a rage, rushed to Celeste's bedroom, and strangled Shanann to death. Watts said he then loaded all 3 bodies into the back seat of his work truck and took them to an oil battery known as Survey 319. Watts said he buried Shanann near 2 oil tanks and dumped the girls inside the oil tanks. Watts was presented an aerial photograph of the tank battery area, and he later identified the locations he replace the bodies. And then it goes on to say that the body of Shadan Watts was recovered. And says following his interview, Watts was taken into custody. The process of 2 cellular phones were seized. One, a black Apple iPhone model, blah, 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 was secured in evidence on tag, blah, blah, blah. Second cellular phone, a black and gray Apple phone, was secured into evidence. And then it says on 9/4/18, Eurofient took custody of one black iPhone 6 Target phone directly from the CBI headquarters to Lakewood. The cell phone was voluntarily surrendered to CBI agent Kobach in a previous interview by Kessinger, who was romantically involved with Chris Watts. This cell phone was secured into evidence on tag number 14778 at the Frederick Police Department's evidence section. Eurofient seeks authorization to complete a forensic search of the target phone to collect the data within. This evidence would offer insights to the relationship Watts had with Kessinger, could confirm or refute any activity or communication by Watts in the hours surrounding the death of his family, and could document the activities of Watts during the ensuing days he claimed his family had disappeared. Dated this day, the 6th of September, 2018, this affidavit consisted of 4 pages and was subscribed and sworn before me this 6th day of September 2018. Okay, so that's where they went with that. Now, the return and inventory for the search warrant says that the CBI extraction reports containing all recoverable forensic physical data are within the current incorrect, or the complete and correct inventory of the property. And then it says, I further certify that said inventory was made by me, that a copy of said warrant was left by me inside the evidence packaging of the black and color Apple iPhone model, blah, 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 cellular phone under Frederick Police Department case number, blah, 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 and evidence tag number, blah, 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 place from which the property was taken. There we go. So it's just a lot of things saying that they got the phones. All right, they got the phones. There you go. So I think that this has been a very, very boring episode. I do apologize. It's just so much of the repetitive, just procedural things, and then this seals that. And then, oh my gosh, the next 2 pages are still for this. And it's like, I would just like to see exactly what everything said. I'd love to read all of them, the 200,000 messages, and really put together the story in what. But it's just all these pages, literally pages and pages and pages, over getting the phones. And then it goes back and it is cut and pasted, the whole thing here, for the search. It's the same thing. Okay, so we're going here, and it's very repetitive. Like I say, this whole 2000 thing could be done in 20 pages or less, because that's just a copy of this, and then another part for that thing for all of this stuff for this phone. Oh my goodness sakes. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Tree died. One whole entire tree died for the search warrant for that phone. So, oh, no, maybe 2 trees. Maybe 2 entire trees. And then for all the toilet paper that Christopher Watts was asking for, another whole entire tree went down, probably shitting out all that Thrive. And then here we go, more and more stuff. And then the cut and copied all of the evidence of, or all of the information surrounding what happened in the whole scenario that warrants this. It's like, why can't they just say, I'm taking the phone? All right, taking the phone. And then here we go. It has all the things that are sealed up in there. And then this is going over to the wireless carrier to um, give them the records, and this is one of four for them to surrender. It's a for them to come forward with all of the stuff. So now they're going to the phone company saying, all right, we have all of this. Now you give us this and the order for protection of records. And then cut and pasted the whole thing again of the story. And it's exactly what I've read a million times. And here we go. Repetition, repetition. There we go. Oh no, not another one. Another copy of part of the warrant for the phone. And then let's see what is next. No. Another warrant for the phone. Oh man. 3 or 4 trees now have died for this. And it lost 5 brain cells at least. Let me see. There we go. Yep, the subscriber. There we go. Oh my god. So be like, here's a discovery, and 500 pages of it are how we got the phone. The other 300... Oh, here we go. It is this copy and pasted frickin' time of events timeline. What that is. Why would all these people need to know this? Okay. Oh my goodness. Continues on. So then these people are getting the search warrant. And they're all reading, oh, this is where you're at so far? Oh, okay. Holy moly. Holy moly. Maybe 6 trees. 6 trees, and then 6 brain cells. Okay, let's see if we get to anything where it's a good stop. Oh, no. No, another copy. No, you've got to stop it. Okay, so now this is the return and inventory for court order for protection of record from Baumhover. Oh my god. And then court order for protection of records. Okay, got that. Holy moly. Oh man. And then let's copy and paste this one more time. Copy and paste that. There you go. Did that. Okay, so how was that going to go in trial? The world will never know because I don't know. Oh my god, we're up to the 8th tree. A whole Christmas tree village was like taken out to make this series of search reports, search affidavits for the phones, and then printing out the 200,000 text messages of Shanann Watts. Probably about how many emails I have that I haven't deleted, but you know. Oh my goodness sakes. Make it stop. Oh man. Affidavit in support of self-authenticating documents under... Okay, what do we have here? Something? No, production of records. No. On October. Oh, no. And you copied and pasted this one too. Oh, Lord. And then there you go. And oh, man. You really, really are repetitive. Oh, my God. Ninth tree. Ninth tree. Okay. Let's see. Well, there we are. What do we have here? Well, so Detective Dave Baumhover, I hope that you had a rubber stamp for your signature so you can just rubber stamp all these things, because that's a lot of things to be signing, because this is a very repetitive process, and I apparently cannot get anything else done because you have to do 400 pages of the same thing to get one thing done. Okay? I gotcha. Oh, Lord. Court order for protection. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. Oh, okay. All right, here we go. Oh, come on. Come on. Let's see here. Oh, my God. It is still more of the same. Are you kidding me? Oh, then another copy and paste. The whole entire timeline, which we all know by heart now, which isn't what his sentence says. We don't know how we got to that point. But, he's in prison for 4 life sentences. Oh, not another. Oh, it is another. Oh, are you kidding me? Kidding me? What in the world is wrong with it? People. Just so repetitive. I only hope that they emailed this so that. Oh my God. Okay, so now it's like, where they're talking about who could testify, if these records, need to be asked about in court. And so who would be summoned should this make it to trial with the things. And then we have another supplemental, and it said here the supplemental report is simply to provide contact information from the people I had previously contacted. The residents I spoke to on was Carrie Fox. The McDonald's supervisor I had spoken with regarding the video surveillance was Brian Arpin. Nothing further. Officer Perez. That's just another little supplemental in there. Okay. All right. So here we go. When we restart, we actually have something a little bit different. We got through a lot of just the stupid papers that were repetitive of just getting the affidavits from the phone. So that got us further here in the pages. We went from 1,484 to 1,709. I apologize for this being the most boring episode. I hope it serves for good sleep. Let's see, we went from 1,634 to 1,891 in the discovery pages. And I started. Oh, this is 3 hours and 4 minutes, so there we go. Most boring one I've ever done for you. I apologize for the boring stuff. You guys enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for supporting me. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And on that note, I'll let you go. Thanks for listening, and thank you for your time.